It is live. I hear myself on the stream. I don't want to hear myself on the stream.
Yeah, I muted it. I set the picture up so I can see the text and stuff.
Yep. Come on. They can't see me. Everybody come in. As we're waiting.
Man, I'm super happy I got this PB&J.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You just do a classic PB&J, don't you? You don't do
Whole wheat bread, yeah, that's it.
whole wheat bread, regular smooth peanut butter.
Mhm.
No fancy jelly, just the grape jelly, not strawberry, not raspberry, grape. Right? So I think you looked at me. I think you when I asked that on a stream once, you looked at me like I was crazy. How you put strawberry jam on a you put
Nah,
strawberry
man.
jam on one?
Nah, man, I don't do that. Why would I do that? That's not American.
You don't put crunchy. You don't venture outside of your smooth peanut butter. You're a purist.
Who would do that?
No crunchy. That's for heathens.
It is, it's awful. Hey, how's it going, Mouthy?
Just waiting for people to come on in. We'll
Yeah.
get started actually talking here in a minute about Vigima games. How's it going, everybody? See Mr. Eggy there? Hello. Hello. Oh, I got a regional question for you, Darkside, if you're still in here.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so iced tea, sugar or no sugar, where you guys are at? Like, is every place do put sugar in their iced tea?
I don't know because iced tea in Canada is different than American iced tea, so I don't drink it down here.
It's different. What's the difference between Canadian and American iced tea?
When I ordered an iced tea in New York, they actually gave me cold tea.
Yeah.
I thought it would be Nestea, you know, like almost like Kool-Aid that you just scoop out, throw in, and add water, because that's what it is in Canada. So I like took a sip of it, spit it all over the floor, and like looked at the guy. I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Threw it in the trash and walked away.
Yeah, see, what I do is, you know, we have, like, you buy like the cold brew bags, and you just hold on. You buy the cold brew iced tea bags and you just throw that in some hot water, and it gets, you know, nice and strong and refreshing.
Do it.
Yeah, see, that's not what iced tea
Only
is in
do it.
Canada. Like Nestea is iced tea in Canada.
I see. Interesting. So is that like sugary?
Yes,
It is?
It's,
Okay.
It's
Definitely
just
on
like
purpose.
Kool-Aid almost.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
All right,
Because,
guys.
yeah, we don't sugar it. At least I don't.
I'm gonna get the show on the road here. I do want to say that this is pretty exciting right here. So without further introduction, here we go. Welcome to the Next to Nothing podcast. We are now live. Thanks for coming and watching the first episode of NTN, the show about gaming on a budget. So hopefully everybody here is in chat. Kind of give you guys a walkthrough of what's going on here. First of all, I'm not alone. I never seem to do things alone. So I do have my wonderful, exciting co-host, very knowledgeable over there. And I think he's to my, I don't know, on your side, right or left, Danny K. Danny K, why don't you say hi to everybody?
What's up, guys? My name is Danny K, streaming at twitch.tv/Danny K.
Very, very cool. Down below, we got my boy. He plays it all the time, Mr. Dead by Daylight down there. That is Darkside, a.k.a. Steve. He's default Dwight, if you can't tell. Steve, why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hi everyone, how's it going?
Short and simple. You can find Steve nowhere because he hates social networking.
I think he's in our Discords. You can speak to him in our Discords. Our respective Discords.
Absolutely. So you can find him down there. Steve's a great dude, a really good resource too if you like those types of games. He's very, very good at them. So, what we're doing here, guys, we will be doing a little bit of footage here. As you can see, there's a chat down there. So yes, this is a podcast, but it is interactive. So, you know, if you have thoughts or maybe even questions, we're not going to be claimed to be resident experts. These are just our opinions, okay? We each picked some games this week, some more than others, and we played them out, and we're here to give you our opinion. Now, these games you got to keep in mind are $10 and under, or free to play, right? Yep. These are the games that you're not going to invest a lot of money in. These aren't the games that you're going to really, you know, like freak out about having to get special hardware for usually. These games are just, you know, randomly thrown out there. And with today's buzz and today's market, a lot of free-to-play games and a lot of indie developers now are actually really kind of starting to grow off of this market. So we thought, and this is really kind of out of Danny's head over there, you know, why not just take the time to actually just play a couple and just, instead of saving you money, because there's no money really involved, save you some time. So that's kind of what we're doing here. I don't know if you want to emphasize any more on that, Danny.
Just a little bit about what else we've kind of talked about. You know, we might review AAA games. but it's because it's a part of a service, right? Humble Bundle, or if you're an Amazon Prime member like I am, you get free games every month. So, we'll talk about gaming on a budget, games that come as a part of a service or something that you're already paying for in your budget already, if you budget out Amazon Prime. Otherwise, yeah, that's kind of all I had to say to start out, or to do introductions with.
And the reason Steve's here is every week me and Danny want to make sure, we want to make sure that we get somebody else interactive here too. So these could be people that we know on Twitch, people we play games with. Any of you guys are invited. All you really got to do is just kind of fit that criteria of just playing that game. You can definitely come on here. You can chat with us. If you have a webcam, you can webcam. If you're shy or you don't have a webcam, we can always come up with a funny picture for you. So, but yeah, we definitely want to make sure we have different people every week giving their opinions too, because I have an opinion, man. Danny's definitely got an opinion. And I like to think that, of course it's my opinion. I think it's fucking great. But, we definitely want to get other opinions on here too. Give us other insight, so that way it's more of a kind of a community-based type talk show and not so much just, like, hey man,
two guys in a brain,
right? Yeah, and basically just driving home our ideas and points. Yeah, so that's basically the idea over there. So without further ado, I think I'm gonna go into what I played this week, if you guys are okay with that. I played the shit ton of this game, and I apologize about my French here, but I played a lot of this game on my stream, so you guys already know what I played if any of you have been watching my stream. Darwin Project, man, that's what we went after, for me at least. And I think I took on a really big game, for the most part. It's really starting to get popular. Interestingly enough, its reviews and its Steam score has actually gone down. But definitely a lot more people are playing it, and I think enjoying it more. So I mean, if you have maybe an hour of your time to waste, I'm already gonna cut to the chase. It might actually be worth it. But here's some of the things that I kind of saw when I went through. Let's see if I got another. Yeah, I do. Looking good. Let's try it out. And hold on. There it is. Oh, that's huge. Sorry, guys. Getting used to my new controls here. My apologies. So yeah, Darwin Project. I got it pulled up here on Steam, basically. But the first video on there kind of gives you an idea of like the actual lore that's involved, which really isn't a lot of lore in this game. Let's be honest. It's not one of those types of games. Basic idea. Any battle royale. But this one is inmates. There's some inmates. They go to some frozen place in Antarctica, and they have to not only kill each other to live, but they also have to survive to live. So this game took two classic elements that at least I think I saw that definitely helped kind of merge some things together. The battle royale craze, right? You got, wow, this is kind of cool, man. We're getting it live on here on the podcast. So I guess this is gonna be in the audio. Hey, Skyla11377, thank you for the follow, much appreciated. Don't worry, guys, I still got all that stuff up. Thank you, Tuna, much appreciated, man. Y'all keep me busy here. So you got the battle royale craze. You got Fortnite, you got PUBG, you got Radical Heights, you got that whole thing going. So they kind of took from that genre, right? And then they took from an older craze that I think is going to see a resurgence, especially with newer titles coming out like State of Decay 2. I know I'm excited about that. I know somebody else in this room is too. They took from the survival, not horror, but just survival craze, crafting, building things, and kind of put it together in a very simplistic way. When it first went early access, it didn't have a lot of elements, and they kind of built upon it to where we are now. So to give you kind of a rundown, they basically have like three almost core elements that you would use to kind of craft things. One of the elements obviously being wood. That's a really common element when you're out in the middle of the woods, right? Interestingly enough, for characters that are out in the woods, trees are really hard to find and chop down. They don't put them like everywhere. There are trees you can hide in, but there aren't just like trees everywhere. You got to go searching for the right tree to chop down. Which again, that's kind of in my cons list. If you're in the middle of the woods, put some more goddamn trees out there. I get it. You don't want to have unlimited arrows because that's one of the things you craft with them, but a little more wouldn't hurt. The second element being leather. They put random sofas in the woods. Now that makes no sense. So like you're walking through the woods, right? And you just get into these just random sofa, cool, and then you go over there and you do a little crafting thing, and now you have leather. And the third element is probably the most important, and that is actually directed by someone else in the game. Oh man, your boy Brian. I think you this might be his second account. Thank you for that follow. I appreciate that. The leather. Sorry, I'm getting tracked here. The electronics. The electronics are basically like I think I'm getting a little too ahead of myself, but there's a director, and that person kind of controls the game. Electronics are actually they put them in certain sectors. Electronics definitely help. Electronics help you do things like super jump, have a force field. One of my favorites is a turret, because that's like the only gun in the game, because everything is melee or arrow only. So these three elements is really what drives the game. But the idea that you are in the wilderness and you can get cold, I thought was an amazing part to the game. The fact that you have to slow down, build a fire, which, by the way, the fire is a beacon from hell, straight into the sky. So like everybody knows who you are.
Bell.
Exactly. Fresh meat. I'm too cold. The fact that you have to do these things in order to survive, I think it definitely helps out because it slows it down, but it keeps you working towards that fast-paced battle royale type thing. And it keeps you thinking. One of the other cooler elements that I liked in the game was the tracking. There's these little tiki posts. That's what I call them. I think they're called something else, but they look like little, tiki heads, tiki posts you'd see in a Hawaiian island. You basically you go over to that, and that will actually give you almost kind of like a little bit of an aimbot. Gives you a basic idea as to where an enemy might be. There are also maps and other things out there. But that right there is one of the cooler ways you can do that. And then if you're close enough, you're in snow, so it leaves footprints everywhere, and they actually light up. And not only that, they point you in which direction the footsteps is going. Not that you'd want to sit there and look and figure it out, but it's really intuitive. It's really easy to kind of track people and figure out where you are and figure out where they are. So it's pretty cool. Excuse me. So you got those three elements working for you. You're a survivor, and it's basically 10 people and a director. Last man standing wins. There is also duos, so you can do 5 teams and a director. And as far as from the survivor perspective, whether you're on Twitch or you're not, I think it's still worth your time. That's just basically one of the elements. It'll be fun enough just to play. It's a rinse and repeat type of game, just like the other battle royales, but it's definitely something that I think is definitely fun to try out. More often than not, you'll probably get hooked at least what I did was on the mechanics. The battle mechanics in this game are superbly optimized. Yeah, it's cartoony looking like Fortnite, but it runs and it's very smooth. They don't really have arrow drop in it or any kind of bullet drop, but for the most part, it actually does a really good job of kind of being able to jump, juke, and be able to shoot arrows and swing a melee. They do a really good job with that mechanic, and they make it pretty fair. There are upgrades as you go as a survivor, by the way. Not just in the game by crafting them, but you can change so that you get certain upgrades before you start the game in like a perks system. These upgrades I think are probably the cooler part. I didn't even learn about them until like a day later when I was playing that Danny told me about. These perks actually let you change like the type of cloak you wear, because you want to put a cloak on to stay warm. Certain cloaks can actually give you extra abilities besides keeping you warm. So that right there, I think, is one of the cooler features, one of the cooler functions, that they threw in there as an extra element. I think the issue they might be running into, though, at least from the survivor perspective, is the give off on keeping it simple, because you don't want to be crafting too much in a battle royale fast-paced game, but also adding enough elements, crafting recipes and stuff, so that it's still interesting. So this game hasn't been out very long. Hopefully we do see a good flow on that. Maybe they could add things and remove things. Of course, they're going to have to nerf and buff certain things. But the crafting, I think, is going to be probably their hardest hurdle, just to keep the game interesting and fun. I only went over one element of this, and I'm sorry I'm long-winded. I'll try and wrap this up, dudes. But there is another element, too. Once you reach level 10, you get to become a director. I personally have not played it that long, so I am not there yet, but I can't wait. But from what I've watched and from what I've seen, directors, they basically kind of control areas, zones, and classes. Just like any battle royale, big circle going into a small circle, like in PUBG. Same idea, they just have sectors, almost like a little honeycomb, and they start closing them off. The person who decides that is the director. He not only can do that, he can actually go over to players and interact and talk with them. I always suck up to the director, by the way, because the director can give you wood, can throw something at you, maybe give you an environment change or something like that. So the directors have control. But here's the coolest part. If you're a Twitch streamer, you can put an overlay on your Twitch feed. And that overlay will actually allow your viewers to vote on the things the director can do. Because the director can't just wholeheartedly make every decision. He needs votes and interactions in order for them to happen. So if you are a Twitch streamer, this is definitely a game that will make it not only fun for you, but fun for your viewers too. So that right there, between the director, the Twitch interactivity, and the actual gameplay and mechanics, I would actually recommend this to anybody, even people that don't stream. I think you'll find it fun. You'll definitely find it rewarding. Even if you got some friends, that'll definitely be cool too. The biggest con right now that I have with the game, in my opinion, is that they haven't. Oh, it's a pro and a con actually. They've left it only at singles and duos. They haven't allowed quad squads. I'm not a super popular guy, but I have more than just one person that might want to play a game with me at one time. So, if they could make it, quads, group of 4, do a squad, something like that, that right there I think would be a much cooler, I don't know, a much cooler, better idea, I think. But I think the reason they're not doing that probably isn't just for optimization's sake. They kind of want to be different from all the other guys. Like, I don't know if you've seen, but like the other battle royales, they have like in Fortnite, they have a 50 versus 50. I'm not saying that's obscene. It's still a cool idea. But that's a lot. That's a lot of people. And it seems like they're just adding more people to teams. They're making it so that you can have more people in a chat. You can all work towards the same goal. But unfortunately, I think that adds more confusion and a little bit of problems. I think squads would be one huge improvement in this game. The other thing, since I am a Twitch streamer, the ability to run that overlay with other overlays would actually be pretty cool. If you are on Twitch and you actually stream, you probably use Streamlabs overlay, and that's a really cool overlay that allows song requests, allows you to accrue points, use those points for certain things, and actually do polls and giveaways. So it's kind of a bummer now. I got to look for other software if I want to do a poll or a giveaway and play that game. But I mean, that's not really the end of the world. Honestly, there's no star rating we're doing here, guys. But in my opinion, I would say mostly everyone should at least give this thing a try. You got a half hour, an hour in your day and you're bored, boot it up, costs you no money, and it's something to play around with, just to have some fun. So that is my take on it. Now, before I do that, Danny, you played this game a lot, right?
Yeah, I've played quite a bit of this. I played it with you on your stream, and I've played it on my stream as well.
And do you have any thoughts on that, or?
Yeah, I think the Twitch overlay thing, that might be something on Twitch's end where you can only have one overlay on the video itself.
Might be.
I'm not sure if that. So, like, just a thought. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Yeah, the game runs great. It seems to run well on pretty low end computers as well. So this isn't something you're gonna have to worry about. Burning your PC up. It's early access, so they are working on it and developing it still. And I think they had like a founders pack. I don't know what the monetization. I don't know what the monetization model is. The business model is for it. I feel like it might be like a DLC type situation, if I'm correct. Otherwise, it might be some sort of cosmetic microtransaction kind of model. So, if those are things that you're sensitive to, that you feel like you can't you can't not buy that green and black cloak, then just think about that as you start playing. But the fact that it's only 10 people total is really nice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like not being 1 in 100. Oh, somebody is saying that it used to be $15.
It was, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So they have the supporter pack and get some cosmetic items. Yeah, that's what I was thinking their business model is going to end up being.
Yeah.
So I mean, which is good for most people. The vast majority of people are going to be okay with that business model. Otherwise, yeah, work runs well. It's fun to play. You don't feel like I guess one thing to note, the fact that everyone starts with an axe and a bow, and you select the different power-ups or arrows that you get
Yeah.
before the match, that leaves everyone basically at the same level.
Right.
Which is really, really, really nice. Because like in Fortnite, H1Z1, or PUBG, really the winners are the people that get to the area first and get the first gun. Those tend to be the winners in those early fights in those games. And in this, it's not that. It is skill and some resources that you have. So that's nice. Yeah, no, I've enjoyed it. I've thoroughly enjoyed that game.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for your insight on that too, because you've actually been playing it very, very well. So I've been very proud of you, my boy. Got a couple chicken dinners under his belt already. You only played it a few days, so.
Yeah, well,
Alright,
what
good
was
job.
it? I think it's 3, maybe 4
I
victories.
think you're at 4, dude. Yeah, you're
4,
killing it
yeah,
right
and I
now.
have 8 hours played on it so far.
So I mean that feels good, and that's probably too because of how little people are actually, like 10 people instead of 50 or 100. So you do get your come ups, you do get your points, and you can start getting like those cosmetic things too there. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is very cool. I'm loving these proc heads, by the way. I should probably talk to Chad a little more. And pull it back
I
here.
guess
real
let me
quick.
ask Darkside, because I
Yeah.
feel like he's probably watched it. How do you feel as a viewer when you watch it? When you watch,
It's exciting to watch. The only problem I have with that game, watching it, is the director can, if they have friends in the game, they can give them information other people won't get to help them win, which
Mhm.
is a little unfair to the other players because it's randomly picked, the director.
Yeah.
And it also scares me that I'm pretty sure the director is the host of the game, which makes it a peer-to-peer game, which makes your computer data unsafe.
That's a good
Love.
point.
All very valid points there.
I guess we can talk about the director aspect of this, because you can get some really crummy directors who aren't entertaining, because that's kind of part of it. Like the director is
Yeah.
basically, if you think back to the Hunger Games, they're kind of like the host of the game, and they can talk to everybody at once. So it would be, if you want to be a director, like you should be a broadcaster in mind. It's like, oh, here comes Brock with his axe, and he takes another 150 damage, and he's jumped off the cliff in order to try to escape Darkseid. But oh, here comes Darkseid with those arrows. Like I've had maybe 1 or 2 directors that have been halfway decent at some sort of play-by-play.
Right.
So yeah, if you guys are out there and you want to start playing director, learn how to do play-by-play.
Exactly.
It's entertaining for everybody involved.
Yeah, and you don't need too much to be a good. Just got to practice it. If you get that play-by-play, if you get that voice, if you get that interaction, man, you can definitely make it worthwhile. Not only for just the players, but if you streamed it, if you were a streamer on Twitch, people would love to. They'd recognize you. They'd want you in the game. It'd definitely help out. Building the community and stuff like that. Some of that last footage, they were showing some popular streamers that play this game, and just some of the funny stuff that happened with them. Between the director and them, and classic moments. So it's definitely Twitch oriented. Funny that it's not Twitch sponsored. Like there should be Twitch skins already, but it is very cool. Thank you, Mouthy. I appreciate that. You're too sweet.
Yeah,
to me.
the Twitch games would actually be kind of interesting to get some sort of Twitch gear in there.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It could be like a boring lobby if nobody talks, just like in Friday the 13th, a game we play a lot too. The interaction between people talking absolutely is very important. Like when Jason, Voorhees is the killer and he doesn't talk, it's boring, right? Just like the director, if the director doesn't talk. So, yeah, I totally
guess
agree.
Another thing to add to like the communication. So, it is a proximity-based chat when you're actually in game. There's been moments where people are talking shit, and then I think this is me and Prox Victor.
Yeah,
our
by
first victory
accident.
together. where yeah, these guys start, they start talking trash and like, oh, these guys are bad, and then we baited them into a cabin and just absolutely destroyed them in this cabin.
Yeah,
It's
just
like, oh,
swinging
we're
hammers.
bad now, huh? We're bad now. Get bait. Yeah, I think I was a little bit more mean with it.
Yeah, I think so.
I was probably a little bit more rude
Aggressive.
and vulgar.
Yes.
But yeah, it's good. It's good. There's a lot of entertaining there's a lot of entertainment value to this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because I've not really found a battle royale that's like really kept me that much, compared to like Fortnite. I haven't played PUBG, but I've played the H1Z1.
Yeah.
They just don't. You feel like you really are 1 in 100.
You feel like a small statistic in this game of really
Yeah.
high skillful players or people that have better stuff than you. This game takes all that
Yeah.
element away because, like Danny said, you start off with the same stuff. You have to craft just like everybody else, and there's not 100 people. There's only 10. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, and when you kill that one team, when you kill your first team in that game, or you might be weakened to the extent that someone might come and scavenge off you.
Yeah.
Right. There are those moments where it's like, yeah, like he might, be hurt in that building over there in PUBG, but I know for sure he's hurt. And it would just take me one good axe hit. So there's also some of that, like the scavenging and the vultures and stuff like that. That's an interesting aspect of this too. That's not, it's more known. There's less unknowns in this game than there are in other battle royales.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, we're gonna move this one over to Danny K. And I think Danny, did you play 2 games this week?
Yeah, I'll start with the first one being Iron Sight by Whipple Games. It is a first-person shooter in the. Do you guys know how cloning plants work? Like you take like a little, graph off of it, and like you plant that graph, like and it's basically genetically the same thing. It's basically the same thing as Black Ops 2. This game, it's like a little graph. The guns feel the same. The movement's the same. The they have some of the same guns in the game. Like they didn't even bother changing names. Of course, with some names you don't really need to change. Yeah, the same kill streaks. Some of the same kill streaks. So this is, like I said, it's a first-person shooter. It's free to play. It's not on Steam. It has its own launcher and it's Windows exclusive.
That's why I'm trying to pull something up here. Sorry.
Yeah, it has its own its own launcher. I was looking through their FAQ. They said that they were going to plan on getting on the Steam system. And the biggest reason, because this isn't like a brand new game. I think it's been out in its early access state since the beginning of the year for sure. They actually had an update with a new map and some other cosmetics and stuff. So this game, the way it makes its money is microtransactions. You buy a premium currency and you rent guns out and stuff like that. There's a regular currency that they are pretty generous with that you can buy and rent guns with as well. So that's not bad. Like I said, they're really generous with it. Like you could probably make the proper amount of money for a gun or to repair something, probably in 4 or 5 matches. And it accumulates quickly, and you get a daily log-on bonus, and they give limited time weapons to you, like as a part of the login bonuses. So, like I said, it's not like others where it's like pay $10 for like 30 kills on a gun. Well, how some of those can be. The new map is all right. A lot of these, they feel like Call of Duty maps. This one that they added has like closing and shutting doors. So, one area might be closed off for like a minute. The other might, so in a fast paced game like that, where you have to like loop around. Yeah, like you can even see like in the footage, like a lot of the gun models and scopes and stuff look the same. They have throwing knives. I think where this game really differs from Call of Duty though is the drone kill strikes. And that has to do with the lore of the game, which who cares about lore of a first-person shooter like this?
Right.
But you have like you select your kill streaks, and you can have one drone that like scuttles away and like explodes on somebody. One drone that's actually like the Predator missile from Modern Warfare 3. Different airstrikes. What else is there? There's one you can like bring in like a giant mech with miniguns. So there are some like really fun moments to have with this game. My biggest thing with this game is so it does not have a kill cam system. It instead has a killed by system where it shows you where they are. And that gets really confusing because you don't know if something is a favor the shooter situation. Like I thought I was in cover and this guy is behind a wall. Is he wall hacking? What's going on here? Favor the shooter. Was he around the other corner and got me? Like it gets really confusing and a little frustrating because you don't know if a kill was legitimate or not. And there are times where they just don't feel legitimate. So, and I don't know the security of this game, if they have any sort of, I don't see any advertised like anti-cheat or anything, easy anti-cheat or anything like that on the game. So if that's one thing, if the devs see this, institute a kill cam so people are a little bit more confident in your security. That would be the one thing, because there's a lot of moments where things don't feel legitimate. Someone calls hacker, stuff like that. Another big complaint I had. So it has 4 game modes. It has the search and destroy. It has team deathmatch. It has resource takeover, which is the one I have a problem with. And then it has basically a hold the objective, like a King of the Hill kind of thing. It's in resource takeover. There's essentially 3 fighting factions. There's AI and then the 2 teams that are fighting. The AI is really janky and it really shows. So the way it works is that you're basically competing with the other team to not only kill the other team, but to kill the AI. I feel it's kind of a confusing game mode, but when you kill the AI, you can take resources from them. But the AI can fight back, and there are times where like the AI will just be standing there all fine with its gun, and then it'll snap to your head, like out of nowhere. And it'll have there's also like it's called the Metal Reaper, which is the mech with the miniguns I told you about. And yeah, it'll just be sitting there, and all of a sudden, just snap to you, and you're dead. So that's something that really shows. And there's verse AI mode. When you first, you can do that as like your first missions, like in the tutorial and stuff. And it really shows there where an AI will be moving, you'll be behind it, and then it won't even like turn around to shoot you. It'll just be firing like straight ahead, but the bullets will be going behind it.
Weird.
Yeah, so the AI needs work. Yeah, and that's kind of it. The other thing, which I find is a feature right now, there's no VoIP, which is really nice because games like these attract a lot of toxicity. Anyone that played Modern Warfare or Black Ops 2 on console in high school will know exactly what I'm talking about. Brock is pointing to himself. Were you that dick? Get shit on, kid. But I'm 12. Get fucking shit on.
I was king of the 12-year-olds because I wasn't in high school when they came out. I was 20 something. They're like, you can drink. I'm like, man, I can drink whenever I want. I want to be you
right now.
Yeah, right. Now look at me. Now look at me, kids. Woo.
It's cool for them at that point in time to see a guy drinking in the middle. Cool. Now it's just sad. So yeah, that's Iron Sight. It has its moments. Like I said, it can feel frustrating when uh, you don't know if a kill is legitimate or not. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you could even just see from the gameplay that we have going on right now, it looks and feels just like Black Ops 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
The
I mean,
quick
if
scope
you've
in
been
here.
if you've been craving that, that's your game.
Well, Danny, if you don't mind,
Hmm.
I don't think I've actually played this, but I had some questions. If that's
Yeah.
kind of strange, because you kind of have some experience with it.
Hmm. Hmm.
These are like, would you ever questions? No, I'm just kidding. Um, First question: would you choose this over a Modern Warfare or Call of Duty, past or future?
Ooh. So this seems like it has a decent, healthy player base at the moment. It kind of depends on um what's going on with the Modern Warfare or Black Ops series at the moment.
Yeah,
Because I don't know how many people are still playing Black Ops 2, and because are they working on Black Ops 3 right now? I
I
think,
think they
or
are
have they
something like
released
that.
Black Ops 3?
Yeah.
But whatever the latest Call of Duty is, I know they had Black Ops World War II. No, they had Call of Duty World War II. I think they're working on another Black Ops right now. Okay, Black Ops 4 is in the works. Thank you to the chat.
Thank you, Chet.
So yeah, the Black Ops 4. So it kind of depends on what elements you see there. If you really want the Black Ops 2 experience, but the Black Ops 2 servers are shit.
No one's
They're
on them.
overrun with hackers and you can't link into games or anything like that, then this would be it. Otherwise, I mean, if you're keeping up with the Call of Duty series, I would say go for a with the Call of Duty game, because the security is going to be better in the more modern one, and it's going to be more secure, and you're not going to deal with hackers.
There you have it.
Yeah, and like I said, it's the only reason I'm concerned about the security in Iron Sight is because it's not really advertised anywhere. There's no like easy anti-cheat in the corner or something like that. So that's kind of that's where that concern comes from. Not saying it is insecure, that it is overrun with hackers, but I can't tell for sure.
I got another question for you, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. And you might have gone over this, and maybe I missed it. I hope I wasn't distracted there. Hitboxes, mechanics, bullet
Mhm.
drop, thoughts, things that can improve. I mean,
Yeah. So I don't know about the favor the shooter situation. Are you familiar with that term, favor the shooter? For people who don't know,
just go over it.
favor the. So yeah, favor the shooter is, with any game, there's any sort of latency. Any multiplayer game, there's latency. So favor the shooter essentially says, the person that shoots first will probably get the kill. So
Okay.
if I'm running behind Proc in game and he's going around the corner, but I'm shooting at him and I hit and it registers as a hit on my side. But let's say the latency is enough to where he's actually around the corner. When I start shooting, it's going to register as a kill for me. Does that make sense?
It does.
Because
I was reading the comment.
because Proc isn't going to notice unless he's running backwards, right?
I do that all the time. Every first person shooter, I'm always running backwards. I'm just
You're
playing
right.
quick. Boom, 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 boom.
So the favor the shooter and aspects like that, it would be nice to have kill cam to really be able to tell. It seems like it's functional.
Yeah.
Hitboxes and stuff like that seem okay. They don't seem like they're overblown or anything like that. Bullet drop and spread and stuff like that, it's pretty normal. It's not like an Arma or anything like that where
Super realistic.
bullets are going to drop a ton. You don't need to adjust your crosshairs for a target. You don't have to go up 3 ticks and over 2 ticks for a target that's running. Quick scoping and stuff like that is still a thing. Um, so yeah, in terms of those mechanics, it seems pretty run of the mill. Nothing that appears out of the ordinary. That's incredibly frustrating. Um, yeah, at least in my experience, unless somebody's out there that's like, well, I have been observing the bullet spread in a in console, and it is not exactly accurate.
Gotcha. All
Yeah.
right. So
Overall, it's a good one. If you're really craving that mid 2000 or late 2000s, early 20 first person shooter action, that's what you're gonna go for.
nice.
And like it's free, open beta, on its own launcher. If that makes you nervous, wait for it to come out on Steam.
Fair enough.
It's Windows 10 exclusive, and it runs okay on most systems.
Right on, man.
Mhm.
What was the second game that you played this week?
The second game I played, and I didn't play a ton of it because it's actually pretty simple. It's called Spellsworn. It's just and it's a arena combat game where you're wizards fighting on a little bitty island surrounded by lava or acid, and you shoot spells at each other. Different spells have different patterns. So, one might go round in a circle so you can kind of loop around somebody, or it might go straight, or it might shoot 3 in a shotgun type pattern, or 3 straight. You have different AoEs, you can make a pool of acid or stuff like that. When I was checking it out, I would kind of classify this as a laptop game. It doesn't take a lot to run. It's pretty calm, chill. This is for the guy who has a laptop. He wants to take a quick break at the library or something like that. Yeah, there's not much to it. You can do the 1v1. It seems to have a robust enough community that you can go get some pickup games with in the Discord. They have an official Discord for bug reports and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, there's not much to this game. Just an arena fighter, kind of, as a wizard. Yeah, you can see the AoE effects and stuff like that in the trailer.
I'm watching it right now, actually. Kind of throwing around some thoughts in my brain too. As someone like me who is definitely a noob on top downs, kind of like this arena fighter type. I don't play very many of those.
I am too. I'm not a big arena fighter person either.
How do you think its captivation level would be though for somebody that doesn't play those? Would it have mechanics in it that might bring in a noob because it has something special to it, or?
See, that's the thing. It didn't really hold me. I played enough to get an idea and look at its model and stuff like that. It's free. I think there's a cosmetic system in it that you can purchase stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't hold me for that long. Let me check and see how many hours I have in it. I have 22 minutes in it. I played enough to kind of get an idea of how it works. I think if you're into MOBAs, this will be one for you. If you're into Dota and your computer maybe can't handle those, this might be one. Or maybe you're tired of getting screamed at on Dota, so you go to this. Because there's no VoIP here, which is, once again, if sometimes I view VoIP not having VoIP as a feature.
An issue, right?
As avid players of multiplayer games, me and Proc know how that goes.
I do.
So that's something there. Like I said, it just didn't really hold me that well. But I don't really play those kind of games often. But yeah, definitely a laptop game. It runs on pretty shallow systems.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So overall,
Overall, it seems like it's solid for the genre that it's in.
Yep.
Like would really be lacking anything, but I'm not an expert on that one. The fact that it runs on so many things, it's multiplayer. It, like I said, it's a laptop game. College student that needs to take a break from studying, pop a game on of that on your laptop while you're at the library, kind of thing, would be the best. Would probably be where it fits the best. And if they hold on to that idea that, oh yeah, this is something that people are gonna play on their laptops, it'll probably go well for them.
Nice.
Mhm.
Cool, man. Yeah. The free games are better often than the $1 to $2. I agree. The $1 to $2. That's another thing, I guess, in the genre. That maybe I like that Eggy brought that up. Kind of off
Mhm.
subject since we're in between, but anybody that's looking for like $1 to $2, $5, sometimes even the $10 games. Those are the guys that might be that indie developer that is like kind of doing a cash grab, right? The craze has started.
Yeah.
Battle Royale started. Everybody wants to do a Battle Royale game. And then, like I said,
Or their asset flips.
yeah, they just kind of come out with some garbage. They throw it out there. They don't finish it. It's early access, but give me $10. They never
Mhm.
support it. Dead game in the water. That's happened all too often. Or, on the flip side of that, let's try and give some people the benefit of the doubt. These indie developers don't have the money, the budget, and the resources. They come up with a great idea and they put it out there. Maybe they put it out there too quickly. And unfortunately, it falls to that whole same idea where it doesn't continue to get developed, goes under, $10
Friday the
gone.
13th.
Right, exactly, right? I know.
I think part of that is when these are like one man studios,
Yeah.
that person probably isn't an accountant as well. So
Exactly.
they start throwing too much money into it. They're not realizing how much they're doing in resources and stuff. And they quickly figure out, oh, I burned through all my money. Whoops, guys, I need to add microtransactions in now or start, doing whatever. Shady things can end up in that. So yeah, the $1 to $2 games, they're very often either guys that don't know how to manage the money they're getting, or it's an asset flip and they're making money by just taking things from the Unity store and
Yeah.
making Steam trading cards.
That too.
Do the other game first, Pete.
Gotcha, buddy. He caught me.
Yeah, I want to save the best for last.
Because then I switched over. I'm getting used to my little setup here, guys, so bear with me. Hopefully, episode 2 will go a little bit smooth.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I know what games Steve might have done here, but Steve, you have the floor. What did you play?
So I did 2 games, and I want to start off with Friday the 13th, The Puzzler, which is a free-to-play puzzle game, and you play as Jason Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
The graphics are pretty cartoony, kind of silly. I think it's supposed to be like comedy, but I'm a big Friday the 13th movie fan, which as I was playing it, I was like, well, this is kind of dumb. So you can move your Jason in straight lines. If you move him one, he'll go to completely across the entire screen until he hits a obstacle. And that is how you play the puzzle. And you have to go around until you find a victim and then murder them. And the last victim, you had to do a skill shot on. And it does a big cut scene. It shows you murder them and they fall down. And then Jason's mother head appears in the upper left corner and starts cheering you on that you killed the teenagers and gives you a little bit of bloodlust. You got a preview of it?
Pulling it up right now, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see this. This sounds
Oh wow, this is really cool. Sorry, I'm
I'm
not
not a
sharing with
big
you right
fan
now. I just
of
wanted to make
puzzler
sure.
games.
Very, very
I'm
cool.
not-
So I will transition. Of course, the text is jacked up. I'll figure this out someday, guys. All right, here we go. Check it out. It makes me think of and I hate to interject. It makes me think of like a Lego-based game. Very cute.
Yeah, it's supposed to be comedic and funny, which
Mhm.
I really liked about it. So you play as Jason. The first stage you start at Camp Crystal Lake, which was really cool. And you go around and kill the counselors like normal Jason. You know, you're like 10 feet tall compared to them, which is really cool. But once you beat the first 10 puzzles, you go to stage 2. Stage 2, Jason Voorhees is in prison. This is kind of where I know they didn't do their homework on Friday the 13th, and they're just making a game. Because your obstacles are security guards in the prison, and if they look at you, you lose and you go to jail.
Okay.
Which, you know, there's no one cop going to put Jason Voorhees on the ground and put some handcuffs on him. There's just no way. So that kind of bothered me a little bit. But the puzzle aspect of it is really good, minus there's a reset button in the left side. So if you do a bad move, you can just click that and start over. And you can keep doing it over and over until you complete the puzzle. So it becomes just a trial and error game. It's not a actual challenge. There's also a go back key, which is kind of horrible.
The go
There's
back
one
key.
of the cutscenes.
What's that?
Yeah, you go back one move, and then you can change your move so you don't either hit an obstacle and lose, or get that counselor on one less move. Because you have a number of moves you can do per stage. So, like the first stage, you have 5 moves, and if you don't finish the stage in 5 moves, you lose, and you have to restart and go back to the beginning. So that's where I have my problem with the game, because it's just a trial and error game, and I'm not a big fan of trial and error games because they tend to become very easy.
Yeah, like you're saying. So like, it's not the puzzle aspect isn't really a challenge on the brain. You're saying, because you get the opportunity to reset, go back, and just kind of like bronze over brain, just muscle through it.
Yeah, it's just memory muscle after a while. And like after a while, I could just look at the stage and just finish it in a few seconds. And I was just like, well, this is really getting boring. And by the time I hit the 30s for stages, I was just like, you know, just moving Jason. I'm like, I'm done. I just don't feel like playing it anymore.
I gotcha. I'm looking at some of the scenes here, actually.
So that
Yeah.
scene right there that you have up on
Thank you.
Steam now is him in prison, and you see the guards where they have the targets. If you go into that target area, you lose.
The target area being the X.
Yes, the X areas, that's where you get arrested and go to jail.
But
But if he goes to the left and goes up to the X at the corner and then goes up and hits the barrel and then comes up behind the guard and you're not in the X, you can kill the guard and get him out of the way. And that's one less thing you have to go through. Guard you have to worry about to kill the guy that's standing over there. But in all, like the game got very bland very quick, and it just became not fun. You can see in the bottom left there the go back button. So if you mess up a move, you can just go back.
I got you.
It shows in the bottom right the weapon you're using, which is kind of cool because when you kill the last guy, you get Bloodlust, and Bloodlust fills up Jason's mask. So every 4 Bloodlusts, his mask will fill up because the mother will be like, you did a good job. Let me reward you. And it gives you a crate. And you can get new weapons out of these crates. And you can use those weapons to get different kills for the cutscenes at the end. It changes a little bit to show you different kill scenes to kind of swap it up a little bit. But it just wasn't enough reward to be enjoyable.
I actually had some follow-up questions, Steve. Are you? I just kind of wanted to. Is this a multiplayer-based game?
No, it's only single player. It almost feels like it should have been like a mobile game.
I was actually just looking at it, and this looks like it was ported from mobile. Because it says get it on Google Play and download on Apple App Store. So this
Wow.
definitely looks like, and looking at it, it looks like it was a mobile game that they ported over.
Got you. That's
Because,
pretty cool.
you know, it's fun enough if you're wasting time, like you're on a train or something and you're going to work or you're going somewhere and you need something to pass the time. It would be perfect, like time killer, but it's just like mindless time killing. It's not a challenge. After about 30 stages, it stops being fun and the cutscenes just get old extremely quickly.
Is there any sort of like stamina bar or something like that where it's trying to get you to spend like say 99 cents? Oh, you'll get, max stamina for 99 cents and you can play for like for 24 hours. You can play as many stages as you want, kind of thing. Is there anything like that?
Not on the PC version. I don't know about the app, but on the PC version, you can just keep going nonstop. And
Okay.
all they do is limit your moves per stage. Like it doesn't show it on this screen because it's too early, but by the mother's
Mhm.
head, there's a number, and that's how many times you can move Jason before you have to start over.
Okay.
But recommending it,
Yeah.
I would not recommend this game. I thought it was a waste of my time, and I want that few hours of my life back.
Gotcha. All right. This one's not happening then.
So definitely, like, it's a phone game. You know, on the train, you have a long
Yeah.
commute, maybe, kind of thing.
Can I actually do a follow up, Steve, on you, man? I got a question.
Absolutely.
I know since we talk a lot, you absolutely love the Friday the 13th movie franchise, everything, and you know a lot about it. I think I know more, like, I know a lot about it too, probably not as much as you, and I love it too. So my thing, as far as an art perspective, is it something that you're like, there's Easter eggs, there's things that are relevant to the movies and the genre at all you could appreciate, or not even that?
Not really, no. I didn't find any Easter eggs in the game, and I just found it very repetitive. Like every stage, they just kind of move stuff around, but it was pretty much the same game every stage.
Got you.
And that
All
was
right.
my biggest problem with it. There was no variety.
Hey, Steve, I just want to
And
give you a heads up from chat, by the way. Tuna said you put that together very well. He said he's very impressed and he appreciates your input, man. Gotta throw that out there. Thanks, Tuna. All right, let's see if I can get my my act together here. See if I know what I'm doing. Sorry, bear with me, guys. Do a little transition. So I think I know the second game. I might. What was the second game you played this week, Steve?
it's Trom, spelt like trauma, but no A at the end.
Okay.
Which is a very, very nice diamond in the rough that I found.
Really?
I've never actually, I could not put the game down until I finished it.
Oh.
Wow,
I
is that
literally
good?
sat here for 4 hours straight playing through it. I did not stop unless I had to go to the restroom or get a coffee, but I just came right back to it and I just kept going. It was probably one of the best free games I've ever played in my life.
Wow. That's a lot
And
coming from you, man.
Yeah, and
A
it
lot of
was
games.
made by a guy through RPG Maker.
I was gonna say it looks like an RPG Maker
Wow.
game.
I'm gonna pull it up right now. So what's the deal with that? How does it work?
Well, I'll wait for you to get my preview up, and
All right.
we'll be good because you
All
gotta,
right,
gotta
man.
kind of see it.
Okay, okay.
One of the big things with this
I didn't know it
game,
was on the
though,
spot.
it is a probably like 16-bit RPG style game. You know, the graphics aren't that great, but this game wasn't about the graphics. The story just pulls you in, and you just can't stop until you find out. I don't want to talk too much about the story because then I will ruin it for everyone.
Mm.
But the story does touch on real life issues, and it's based in modern times. There's no combat whatsoever. There's something that you run away from, and there's a lot of cutscenes that reveal more and more of the story as you go. So I'll just do kind of like the opening scene. So in the opening scene, you're sleeping at your desk at work, and you wake up to somebody knocking at the door. So you can walk around the room and you can literally click on anything. You can go up to someone's desk, it'll tell you whose desk it is. If you want to rummage through their desk, you can do that, even though he keeps saying he feels dirty by looking through their belongings. You go up to a plant, and it'll tell you it's a plant. You can go up to a picture, it'll tell you what the picture is. You can interact with everything in this game, which is unbelievable, and give you a description. But anyways, you answer the door, and it's your friend, like, why are you still at work? You know, it's 9 p.m., nobody's here, go home. So he goes to leave, and then he gets hit by a car. As he's walking out of the building, he's crossing the street to go to his vehicle, and he gets hit by a car. And that's where the horror aspect of the game picks up. It picks up in a hospital where you, quote unquote, wake up. And that's where the story just really picks up. And you start learning during this horror aspect about the characters you're playing, life, his marriage. You can learn about a lot of stuff in it about him. And the story, it just pulls you in so much that you just can't stop. Like reading a really good book. You just can't stop until you know the ending.
Right.
And every RPG I've ever played, I've never read anything. Skyrim, I don't read nothing. Just shut up. All right, quest markers up there. I'm running there. This game, I read every single cutscene. I read every single book. I clicked on every single item just so I could learn everything about this game. And I did not stop for the 4 hours. And the best part about it, it was 100% controller friendly.
Oh, that's cool. What kind of controller did you use?
I used an Xbox One Bluetooth controller, and it
wow.
worked flawless.
Some of the gameplay footage right here, guys.
Have you just played through it the one time? Have you touched it?
No, I played through it 3 times, but there's only two endings.
Okay.
I wanted to see if there was a third ending, and there's not. There's 2 endings to the game, and I played through it twice. And I had no problem playing through it the second time to get the second ending.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, if I was paying attention, I could have just clicked continued and just got the second ending. You don't have to play through it twice, but I had so much fun playing through it. I played through it a second time and then a third time, and I had absolutely no problem doing it.
Nice.
Right on.
In looking at it, it looks like it runs on any old potato.
Oh, definitely. Like my computer didn't even like flinch. It's a very small game. It took me like less than a minute and a half to download it.
Yeah, it's saying in the Steam specs 266 megabits.
Yep. And then as I was playing through it, like the art style, it's enticing. The storyline was really good. Like I swear whoever made this wrote a short story and then made a game so you could play through the short story. That's how well written it was. And there he is sleeping at his desk. That was the opening scene. And then, you get flashbacks of his life and, his wife, his marriage, his home life. And as you learn more and more, it just draws you right into it. It was absolutely amazingly awesome.
Awesome. Cool.
The only problem I had with that game, there was like no combat. You get to run away from things and not find out what's chasing you at times, which kind of bothered me. There was no combat. So really, once you play through it a couple times, though, you're probably not going to want to go back to it because there's nothing else to do in it. But for 4 hours of gameplay, it was awesome. The second time I ran through it, it only took me about 2.5 or so. But it's a retro style RPG horror game, and it was done very well.
A lot of fun.
Definitely recommend this 100%.
Right on.
Yeah, looking at the developer, this is the only game they've done, so this might be their debut. I mean, yeah,
Story driven.
it's fantastic.
Well,
yeah.
Good. Well, thank you, Steve. What would you say overall on that guy?
Overall?
Yeah.
Trom, I definitely 100% recommend anybody. If you like RPGs, if you like horror games, mash them together, and you got a gem in the rough there.
Very cool. Very cool. Honestly, I can't say that I'm like a huge. I don't really play those types of genres very often, but if you say the story's that good, I'll definitely give it a shot there.
Would you say this would be a good one for someone to stream or maybe do YouTube on, or just experience it on your own?
Yeah, you'd have to experience it on your own, because if they come in like halfway through the game, they're not going to know what's going on because they've already missed half the story. You need the whole story to get a feel for this game.
Got you.
Okay.
Because it really hits on modern real life issues. So if you are actually sensitive to real life issues, I don't recommend this because it's just going to trigger you.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
That's funny. All right, on.
But I could definitely see people like getting upset because it actually hits real life issues in there.
Interesting.
I'm kind of interested. I won't lie, man. Especially if you do that.
Yeah, it piqued my interest as well.
So I just do want to take a second, guys. Thank you for them Prockheads. I do want to say thank you to Mama for the gift sub for Bubba. Welcome, Bubba. Welcome to the team, man. Hopefully we get you in here soon. Now, guys, would be a really cool time. What's up, Ren? I saw you lurking there. Thank you earlier, by the way. Thank you earlier for what you did here with the green screen. Now it's a black screen. Yeah, so now would be a good time. If you guys have any questions for us, the show, if you have any requests for games, or if you have any further questions about the games we went over, please start pouring it in chat. We're just going to kind of close things up here and jibber jabber for just a little bit longer. If you guys did have anything you wanted to say. What's up, Zebra? No, man, we need more proc heads. This is the only way you can get head from proc, is by subscribing, and then you can get proc heads. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of a cool format. I'm really enjoying the fact that we get to have a guest every week now. Again, this is going to be an every Thursday. We're calling it a streamcast. That's kind of nerdy.
Yep.
But you know, we stream it. We talk to you guys. It's interactive. We get more people in. And hopefully every Thursday we can have somebody new on. That's really our goal. Ultimately, we want to keep getting new people, but that doesn't mean we can't have recurring people. Before we even get to closing, I do want to say, Steve, thank you very much, dude. You did a phenomenal job. You can read back in chat there. Everybody really appreciated your opinions and views today. So thank you for coming on today. I appreciate that, man.
We got a question from Stealthy Tuna directed at Darkside. What would you say the biggest drawback to Trom is?
Once you finish the storyline and get both endings, there's really no reason to go back to it. So it kind of makes it'll be stagnant after you play through it a few times and get both the endings, which was shocking that he actually had 2 endings to it for being such a small game. And the lack of combat. I would have liked to see like some RPG combat in there. But, you know, it is set in modern times. I'm guessing it's the 1990s because there's still like payphones on the street and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, though, I definitely recommend it. It was like reading like a really good book.
There it is. Looks like we got a question here from Ren. And before I move on to that, thank you, Melty. I appreciate your kind biddies there, sweetie. That was very nice of you. For anybody who's listening to this in an audio version and has never been on Twitch, bits are money you can throw at people that you want to support or you like on Twitch. So that's pretty cool. Thank you very much, sweetie. That was really nice of you. Ren said he only caught the last part of this. Quick 20-second overview of what we guys did. So you got up to where Danny was at. You really only missed mine. Mine was a long, almost 20-25 minutes of the game I've been playing all week, which is the Darwin Project. I won't really go over the review again. You can definitely check it out on VOD and all the other different ways we're going to put this out, which Danny will tell you about in a minute. But yeah, Darwin Project. That was a fun game. I still recommend it, whether you stream or not, whether you like Battle Royale or not. I think it's worth a shot for most people. Now that it's free to play, no longer $15, totally has my stamp of approval. So, actually, let's take a quick second, Danny.
I think Noisy Dig had a question.
Oh, all right, yeah, pull it up, man.
Let's get to that quick. Which one do you guys do you think is the best? Question for all of you.
Out of all the games we reviewed, which one is the best? I would absolutely have to say the Darwin Project. The Darwin Project actually looks like an extremely interesting game and very well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to say the Darwin Project. Iron Sight is okay, but it has a lot of kinks to work through before it would get the top of this list right now. Darwin Project, it's so well optimized, it's clean, it's fun, it's interesting, it's a nice take on what's going on right now. It was overall great, and it got me to say I want to drink whiskey and fuck a woman right now. So
yeah, that was quote of the week for sure.
No, actually, that was. Oh, Christine 0180. Thank you so much for that follow. That was really cool of you. Thank you. Odyssey Daddy, my favorite quote of you, and I was just watching you. This is when I was lurking you. Danny was saying to himself, "Danny, you can do better than that. Come on, Danny, fuck him up." Like, that's how excited he was getting when he was doing combat. He was talking in third person to himself. Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm trying to field any more questions here. If you guys got any more, we give you a few more minutes. But yeah, I'm actually to actually add to that. Yeah, I'm obviously with Darwin Project. Not just because I reviewed it, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm actually after this. I'm gonna go live right after this, and I'm just gonna play Darwin Project with whoever wants to play. So, as a little after party, if you would, there will be beer, not coffee. So hopefully you can have a little fun. I literally heard one of my roommates down the hall go "woo," which I thought was funny. So yeah, that would definitely do that. Danny, actually, I wanted to take a minute. They're not all set up. I know that I'm working on a Discord for this. We're definitely gonna have different alerts and stuff on this. We're gonna have
Yeah.
definitely more interaction in chat on this with commands.
Mhm.
That's still in the works. But what I wanted to kind of touch on was because Danny's definitely running this. Where else can we find content, or where should we go to then find that content if there's podcasts and YouTubes and stuff? What do we got going on?
Yes. So this will actually take a little bit of time this week. You guys won't see this quite yet, or you guys won't see this as early as you will later on. We are going to have a podcast version out on Apple. We have a host and everything like that. It just takes a little bit for I have to have a file first to put out onto there, and I'll post the link out for Apple devices. I'm trying to figure out a solution for Android. We will put this out on YouTube as well. We have a YouTube channel, next to nothing, that you guys can go subscribe to. And it'll just be this here. And I believe I've talked to Proc about this, but setting up reruns on Saturday for his stream.
Yeah.
I believe we talked about this, right?
Absolutely.
So you guys can catch a rerun of this on the stream as well as on his channel. But yeah, so in order to keep up with us, hit follow on Proc's channel, because this is where it's gonna be. Go to our Discords. And yeah, follow us on Discord. You'll see it in all of our announcements, stuff like that. We'll have a Discord set up for this exclusively at some point, a little bit better. Eggy has a question for Darkside.
Yes, he does. Here, I'll take this one. Steve, how much of a horror game is Trauma? Is it like a jump scare kind of game or atmospheric kind of horror?
It is atmospheric. It is not a jump scare. It's not like you're going to get your Five Nights at Freddy scream pop out at all. It is all atmospheric because it makes it very dark and you can only see around your lighted area.
Mm.
Okay.
So it's more of a Babadook and not Insidious.
Correct. And it was very enjoyable. It's not like that all the time. Like some of the game takes part in daytime and you can just see the whole screen, no problem, or it's
Mhm.
well lit up. And then as story starts getting darker, the lights start dimming out, and then you just have your little flashlight or your lighter, whichever point of the game you're in. I don't want to reveal too much because I will actually ruin the game.
Okay.
And
Yeah, so
Danny
it's a very
died.
spoiler-heavy game.
Sorry about that technical difficulty there. We're back.
Oh no, we drop our call.
I dropped you.
Oh.
We're good though. I picked you up, dude. I got you.
So with this game, I just lost my train of thought.
It's only
Oh.
a 4 or 5 Eggy.
Okay, 4 or 5. Yeah, I lost it. Continue.
I don't know if anybody was actually continuing, but I'll try and pick up what we got here maybe. Yeah, so we were talking about that, especially with the part. Yeah, said Babadook. Yeah. On a scale from 1 to 10, how scary is the game?
It's only a 4 or 5. It
Good.
has the horror elements and the tense. Now, the sound quality in that game was absolutely amazing. They have a great music track. All of the sounds just totally suit everything. If someone's like knocking, it's very loud. You know someone's knocking, at what door they're knocking at, and everything. Like, it was very done well sound-wise.
Got you. Cool. Well, you guys can keep rolling in some questions. There's some more information I kind of wanted to throw your way since I'm kind of just doing it throughout the stream, and I didn't mean to lose Danny, but I lost him. Sorry. Y'all gonna have to look at something different for just 1 second. Please bear with me. There, it just says Danny K. It's good enough, right? He's gray. I wanted to make sure I put something in here, and I should have done this earlier. So if you guys want to give us suggestions on games, and if you want to well, let me try that one more time. Try the second line. That's my Discord link. Sorry about that. A lot of you are already in it.
I like how
Um,
it says Brock is an idiot and Danny K.
It does even better.
Yeah.
Even better. That's the name of my Discord. It's called Proc is an Idiot. Feel free to join that. And you can just DM me. You can put stuff in there. I'm open to not only games, but if anybody wants to be a guest, please let me know. We definitely want to get some more people on here. I mean, I'd love to have Steve on again. I know you guys would too. He did some really good review and did some really cool games. But if anybody else wants to get involved with this, just let me know through that Discord. You can DM me, or you can even send me a whisper on Twitch. So, wanted to give you guys that option right there. I like the pro tip. Thanks, Danny. What else we got here? This is an unrelated question, but what are all you guys' thoughts on the AAA game industry in developing? Wow, this is getting dark. This is getting some serious stuff right here.
I think it's just stale. I think that, it's just like in movies. Anytime that there's a lot companies that don't want to do a lot of risk, or they can't afford the risk, they don't take those risks. So it just gets stale. Every once in a while, somebody, take Epic Games, for example. They made a risk with Fortnite, and they're like, well, that kind of flopped with their PvE. PUBG's doing well. Let's do something like that. So they had really nothing to lose, or they spent so much time on development and art and everything like that on that game, and so that kind of helped them with they had nothing to lose. So that's just kind of it. When people don't take risks, nothing really changes. Dark Side, Modern Classic Gamers had a question for you. And would so
No, I did not.
You didn't poop your pants.
And then he also said, would it be a good game for him and Casey to stream?
Yeah, since they're streamers.
Yeah, it's not a streaming game, because if somebody comes into your stream halfway through the game, they're not going to know what's going on at all, because you need the whole story on that game. That's the only problem with it. It is a really good retro RPG horror game, but you need to do it start to finish. People who come in aren't going to understand, and they're probably just going to walk away because they're like, what the hell's going on?
I feel like if you're a large streamer that has a consistent audience of 20, 30, 40 people, this would probably be it. That would probably be like the minimum amount, because there are going to be certain people who are going to sit there for the amount of time that it takes you to finish that, and going to follow the story along with you. So yeah, if you have a decent sized audience that's consistent, then probably be something that you'd want to stream. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah. If you want to stream a good horror game, just do Amnesia. Everybody loves watching people jump and scream, and the atmosphere of Amnesia. Amnesia is probably the best horror game I've ever played of all time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else we got here? Modern Classic Gamers, you can definitely guest anytime. You can guest via the computer the way we're doing it this way, or you can come over here and sit down next to me. That works too. Let me know. I know that if you guys don't know, by the way, at twitch.com, twitch.tv/Modern Classic Gamers, it's the name right there. And I should give them a follow. You should check them out. They do old games. They play them sitting back, reclining, controllers, and then every once in a while they do solo games, which are more modern games. So they're a good variety show. Two guys, Barry and Casey. You should check them out. But further than that, they are avid gamers. So they would definitely be good people to get on there. So if you guys want to get on there, you don't have to go into my Discord. You can just tell me in the kitchen. And more than happy to get you on that list, guys. No problem.
And Noisy Dig,
I think I saw
play Sarah's is missing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I actually wrote that down. The horror game Sim, aka Sarah. Is that what you're talking about?
It's Sim or Sarah is missing. Either or.
Yeah. No, I wrote that down. I already put it on a list. So I'm eventually going to have a big whiteboard over here. And I'm going to be putting this down. Because I'm a whiteboard kind of guy. I don't like, files and Google Cloud and stuff like Captain Gizmoid over here, his fancy earbuds. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to start, trying to compile lists too. So throw things at me, whether it's Discord and stuff. I already told you that. I did see that. I thought it was scrolling up in the chat here. Bear with me, guys. I think Eggy or Tuna definitely said they wanted to get in. So Yeah, man, definitely. You know, the more the merrier, please. There are a lot of whiteboards. There's already one in my room, but I need another one. So, um, what else we got here? Mr. Eggy coming in with 2 paragraphs. Wow, he's throwing it down. Thank you for the host, by the way, Modern Classic Gamers. I appreciate that, man. Do I have to read this out loud because it's on a podcast? Okay. Actually, you know what? Danny, you got the voice.
All right.
All right.
I personally feel as if AAA industries are more worried about innovation, while indie and smaller developers are more willing to take risks. It is to possibly become the next big thing. I'm personally a big supporter of the indie industry, where I am very excited of the recent popularity of indie games, where they're becoming very successful and even creating new genres. For an example, Cuphead was made from a very small team of genuinely enthusiastic devs who wanted to create a unique game while extremely hard, still bringing people in. But personally, I believe there's a few AAA companies who genuinely care about the consumers. Yeah, the consumer. There's kind of like 2 arguments that you can have about AAA games. There is the low risk, stale problem where there's not a lot of innovation in genre or mechanics or ideas or IP. And then there's the argument about the ethics of these companies. You know, we see EA almost bring about legislation in Hawaii and over in the EU and Belgium. So those are some issues. Like those are kind of 2 separate issues to tackle, and they kind of get out of hand. So yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about the current state of AAA gaming and developers and these massive companies that are just like Hollywood studios. We got to think about it that way, and often.
I kind of wanted to get a piece of that too, and I think I changed the subject. But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, when it comes to the AAA type industry and what they're bringing, I think it really goes back to Danny's first point, though. There's marketing, there's test groups, there's money, there's investors, and there's like that stale Hollywood remake type feel. How many more modern warfares? How many more Call of Duties? I mean, how many more do we have to continue to see until we can maybe get a really good, new, genuine idea? I think it's ideas out there that are really kind of stale in the AAA industry that don't really draw me into it as often as it should. And I think, honestly, the reason I was so excited to be part of this podcast when Danny asked me is because it focuses on indie developers. Indie developers are making free-to-play because they see, obviously, more monetization in the things you can get to go with the game, as instead of $60, here's a really nice looking game, but it's probably the same stale idea as its predecessor, right? So I was really thrilled to actually get involved in this because I prefer indie games over the big developers. I prefer the smaller teams. I prefer the newer companies. So I think that's another reason why I tend to play more of the free-to-play or the cheaper games myself personally. So did I say triple AAA? No, triple A. Sorry, I don't know if you corrected me there. But yeah, I just wanted to get a piece on that. It's similar to what Danny was saying, though. So
yeah. Stealthy Tuna, I feel you about the money aspect, but I feel the risk isn't the problem with AAA. I feel the problem is the stealth, the system they all use EA as an example. They will buy gaming companies and force them to include microtransactions in their games. This leads to the games getting lower player base and lower ratings. And what he's able to do instead of trying to fix the system, they will just shut down that company. Yeah, that is an interesting aspect, right? That is another kind of thing right there. And a lot of these problems aren't like exclusive to video games, right? We see this in radio, we see this in movies, we see this in TV, where if a small company is bought up and gobbled up by a large company and it doesn't perform the way that large company wants it to perform, it's gone. And there's been programs and policies programs and policies that change that attitude. So maybe that has to be implemented at some point for the current video game industry. You know, we got to remember this is a really young industry when compared to the other media sectors. You know, movies and TV and radio all have 100 plus or at least 50 plus years on video games. So yeah.
Instead of typing this, I'm going to say at Dan. Don't apologize at all. I appreciate that follow. This is a not so much a podcast as it is a streamcast. There's interaction here. You ask questions. You can do follows. You can throw bits. You can have fun. So, and again, thank you for that follow. I appreciate that, man. Just throwing out a question here to Zebra Palooza, and he throws out a really good point. At least since we're on the subject of AAA versus indie and all that, I feel like the problem is players. We're still buying the games, so they're still going to make them, and that's the point. Yeah, unfortunately, people own consoles, and console games kind of are driving the AAA. You know, where I think a PC player has a little bit more flexibility. I know there's more downloads in consoles and things like that, but your average console player is maybe more casual. I'm not trying to say PC race, master race, but
yeah,
could be a 12-year-old, right? And they're gonna want to play the game that their friend down the street has, right? So I mean, unfortunately, it's gonna drive that industry. You're right, but there's really nothing you can do with that. That's honestly just how our culture works in the gaming industry. The biggest thing you can do is just support those that make indie games. You know, grow those companies and make those. It sounds like a really bad, messed up wheel. Make those indie companies into AAA title companies, right? Hopefully they'll continue to listen to you and you can still enjoy their games.
If I can add something real quick to that, we also have to remember that, you know, Twitch is kind of this weird ecosystem where it's like all hardcore gamers, right?
Yeah.
And the average person that buys and plays video games, they don't buy and play as often as the average Twitch viewer or the quote hardcore gamer, right? They buy 1, 2, 3 games a year, maybe, right? So if we're looking at it that way, that's about $180, just about, maybe, on games a year. Maybe less. Maybe they can only afford that one game a year. And those average people who want a polished product that they know what they're getting, they're not willing to take the risk. Those are the people that do drive the industry. In terms of the AAA, right? They know what they're gonna get with the Battlefield, the Assassin's Creed, you know, and really the hardcore gamers are the small group that not only are they the ones in positions like us, who are the Twitch streamers, who are the YouTubers, who are the reviewers for IGN and stuff like that, who start to get a little ornery when things start, you know, getting a little stale. You know, those are the people who really do affect the change. I don't think the average consumer really does as much. The average consumer is, you know, they're guided by the people who stream and do, you know, reviews and stuff like that. But without that guidance, quote guidance in a way, they feed into the machine still.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
I guess does Darkside have any thoughts on that? Or
absolutely. Sorry about that.
On AAA people, absolutely. I think they're just about the money and not about the people playing their games. It's quite simple, really. All they do is they make the games, they put in their microtransactions to totally draw as much money as possible. They don't care about the content of the game. They just want the money. It's all about the money now instead of the game. And then about overdoing everything. I think it's an oversaturated market of not new ideas in the AAA industry. They're all the same ideas, just being done over and over. If you play Amnesia: The Dark Descent, amazing game, horrible graphics, but amazing game. If you play Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, when a AAA company sponsored them to make a new game, it's trash.
Gotcha. It definitely is.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
I think EA has probably done the most damage to the gaming market with the microtransactions. They do it in all their games. You want to get ahead, pay to win. Here you go. So all the bad players be like, oh, if I just throw money at it, I'm going to be a good player. They get a cool gun, but they're still dying.
Yeah.
It's just false paywalls of pay to win, and they're just taking the money.
It would be really nice to be able to say that EA is like the Disney of video games. But
Yep.
with Disney, Disney has success with their franchises because they actually put out a good product. And it's really hard to say that for EA sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Battlefield 1 was a pretty good product that had its issues in, later on in its run, but look at the mess that became Battlefront 2 and Madden and FIFA and all the little bits that go into that. It would be really nice to be able to say that I don't know if we really have a company that we could say is the Disney of
Yeah,
video
look at Kingdom
games.
Hearts. That is a quality game.
Done by Square Enix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's all based off Disney.
Yeah, and Disney. Yeah, well, and Disney doesn't have a studio anymore. They closed that down.
Yeah.
So.
Hey guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are kind of running over time. We were kind of
Okay.
planning to keep this within an hour, and we're clocking in now at an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I apologize for cutting anyone off. If you have any questions, you can throw them in the Discord. We'll definitely hang out. So yes, after this, I will be streaming, and I'm gonna definitely do Darwin Project. Hopefully with my friend Danny here. Maybe with Mama Mouthy. Maybe even some Dead by Daylight, just to hang out, have fun, joke around, let loose. Danny, you doing anything after this, or are you just gonna run and hide?
Probably run and hide. I'm gonna try to get some things figured out for my workflow for this project here.
Yeah, got you.
Yep.
As far as
But I'll be looking around.
as far as where they can find you, Danny, as a reminder.
Twitch.tv/DannyK. You guys can go over there, give me a follow if you so wish. I hang out in Proc's Discord as well as my own. And make sure you guys follow those Discords and stuff.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you guys can see all of our announcements.
Steve, you got any big plans after this?
Dwight's just going back to his locker.
Fair enough. He's just gonna go back to some DVD if anybody wants to play with Steve. I do want to say thank you to everybody that showed up. That was a great turnout for our first episode, so thank you so much. I want to thank you to all the new people that followed. I don't have the list in front of me, my apologies, but thank you all very much for that. I do also want to say thank you to Mama Mouthy for all her support, kind of helping us, letting us post things in her Discord to kind of talk this up more. And not only that, coming in here, being a sweetheart and donating and giving subscriptions. That's really nice of you. To our guest, Steve, aka Darkside, King Dead by Daylight over here. He is the triple threat man when it comes to any horror. He's the man. So thank you, Steve. Much appreciated. Thank you for coming on tonight's show. I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime, man. Anytime. To this guy over here, this knucklehead over here with the cool earbuds. Thank you, Danny K. Thank you for all the help getting me this, showing me how to use this, making the templates, doing all this stuff in the background. And I can already see in his head. Thank you so much for those biddies, Tuna. I can already see in his head. He's already trying to figure out ways to make it work better. That's probably what he's going to do after the stream. So thank you for all your hard work. Thank you so much. So on that note, I'm going to end it, and I'm going to probably be on in about 15 streaming myself. So if y'all want to hang here, be back. If y'all want to come back and lurk too, that's cool too. So thank you guys. Thanks for listening to our opinions. Again, we are next to nothing. We're trying to help you guys figure out what games to basically waste your time on, not your money, plain and simple. So thanks, guys. Thanks for having us. Everybody else? Cool.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, guys. Have a good night. Much appreciated.